Alright guys, in this video we're going to take you through installing the power rack into your Toyota Tundra. First step is to disconnect the negative battery terminal and secure it away from the battery. Next, you're going to need a ratchet with an extension along with the 10 and 12 millimeter sockets. You'll be removing this 10 millimeter bolt and 12 millimeter nut. For the install, you're going to reuse the 12 millimeter nut along with the longer bolt and spacer that we include in the installation kit. The spacer is going to go in first, then followed by the power rack, and then the longer bolt and the stock 12 millimeter nut. To make the install go a bit easier, we suggest removing the fuse cover. This will make it a lot easier to reach the mounting locations. Next, drop the spacer over the mounting hole/nut in your truck. Drop the longer bolt we included into the power rack as shown here. Then lower the bolt through the spacer into the mounting location. Using an extension, hand tighten the 10 millimeter bolt. Next, install the 12 millimeter nut as shown here. Alright, next tighten up the 12 and 10 millimeter bolts with your ratchet. Alright, so in this next step we're going to remove the 10 millimeter bolt that's holding the stock ground wire. Then, using sandpaper or wire brush, strip away the paint as shown. This will ensure you have a good grounded connection. To avoid rust, we suggest using a conductive grease that will keep the metal from rusting while maintaining a good ground connection. Carbon conductive grease is great to have in your toolbox when you're making electrical connections in your Tundra, but keep in mind it's really messy. Next, take the top half of the power rack, insert it into your Toyota Tundra as shown. Using the small included bolts, slide them into place to hold the rack while you make the ground connections. Be sure to apply the carbon grease on both sides of your power rack. Alright, so next take the black ground wire, place the 10 millimeter stock bolt through the copper lug, then insert that same bolt through the stock ground. You're going to take both wires and tighten them down. You're going to connect them back to the stock location in the truck like you see here. Alright, next install the nuts on the back side of the power rack using a Phillips screwdriver and a 9 millimeter wrench. Be sure to tighten both sets of bolts/nuts. Go back and double check that you have a good tight connection on your ground. A tight ground is very important. Alright, next install the fuse cover. Route the red positive wire coming from the fuse block like you see here in the video. Remove the stock nut from the positive battery terminal as shown here. Then connect the copper lug into the battery terminal. Again, make sure you have good tight connections. Alright, excuse me. Alright, so we strongly suggest the use of relays in all your additional circuits. Most of the switches are not set up to handle any type of load or amperage. So in subsequent videos, we're going to show you guys how to use our relay holder and properly wire relays/circuits for the most common accessories used in our Tundras. If you guys aren't familiar with relays or proper wire sizing, etc., we highly suggest you consult a professional. While you're here, be sure to subscribe on YouTube, like us on Facebook, and follow us on IG and Twitter.